Welcome to the Deep Dives, the show where we plunge into fascinating source material to uncover those truly potent nuggets of knowledge and insight just for you. Today we're embarking on quite an incredible journey into the intricate world crafted by Martha Wells. We've got this compelling collection of excerpts from her award-winning book, Witch King. And believe me, this isn't just a story. It's a meticulously detailed universe waiting for us to explore. Our mission on this deep dive is really to unravel the complexities. We want to understand the intricate characters, the mysterious powers at play, and, the underlying conflicts that define this vividly imagined realm. We're aiming to get you truly well-informed quickly, offering up some surprising facts and those really satisfying aha moments, but without you feeling overwhelmed by the sheer scope of it all.
Exactly. And our focus isn't just on what happens within these pages. We're going to dive into why it matters to the characters, how their choices ripple through their world, and the broader implications, too, which tie directly back to these core themes of identity, power, and survival. We're here to connect those narrative dots and really encourage you to think critically about every layer of this story.
So let's maybe set the stage with a central, almost existential question. What happens when the past quite literally reaches out to define your present, and your very identity is inextricably tied to the lives you've lived, and perhaps even the lives you've taken? That brings us right to our central figure, a being of immense power and, frankly, profound trauma, Kystron, though many know him better as the Witch King. Okay, let's unpack this, starting with Kystron's really disorienting awakening. Picture this. You're disembodied, completely unable to move, trapped in this dark, watery chamber. The immediate panic is just palpable. But then comes the truly chilling revelation. You're looking at your own inert body laid out in a glass coffin. Kai quickly figures out he's been, quote, dead around a year. Wow, what a way to return to consciousness.
Yeah, quite the wake-up call. And this disorienting awakening isn't just dramatic re-entry. It immediately throws a core theme into sharp relief. Kai's unique ability to take bodies. The vessel he's currently inhabiting, which we later find out is Talamine's, is actually the third body we encounter for him. So if your very form can change, if you can shed vessels and inhabit new ones, well, what fundamentally defines you in this world, right? Does it make him more adaptable, or does it kind of fragment his sense of self? It sets up a really profound question for his entire journey.
That is a fascinating question, right from the very start. It's not just a power, it's like an existential condition for him. And as he's grappling with this huge internal crisis, Zeta Daiha introduced as the High Teacher, and which she enters the metal conversation. She's also trapped, immobile. Her fears seem suppressed, but her immediate concern isn't even herself, it's for a third party, Terran, who isn't responding. Then suddenly, the internal struggle is interrupted by a very real external threat. Tomb pillagers have arrived. They're led by an expositor named Menlos and his mariners. What follows is Kai's swift, almost brutal reanimation. He rises from the coffin, and his combat is just shockingly efficient. He drains life from his attackers, and it's really striking how his anger fuels this. The visual of him just letting a withered husk drop to the floor, it really drives home the new, brutal reality of his abilities. He's not just fighting, he's consuming.
And what's fascinating here is the clear introduction of expositors as this distinct class of magic users. They're often portrayed as cruel, which sharply contrasts with witches. So this isn't just a power struggle. It feels like a clash of fundamental magical philosophies and morality. We see Kai's newfound capacity to absorb their life force for power, and this is our first hint of their deep magic, too. Menela's commanding a shell whale. That suggests a form of control that goes way beyond simple spells, maybe touching on the manipulation of life itself.
Right, the shell whale. That's a detail that immediately makes you sit up and think, okay, what is that? Amidst all this chaos, we meet Sanja, a street child. She was initially brought as a sacrifice, part of Menela's plan to enslave Kai in her body. You might expect just pure terror from her, but she develops this unexpected, almost quiet connection with Kai and Zide. They quickly take her under their wing. It's a surprising little moment of humanity amidst the violence.
It is, a small anchor in the storm.
So as they escape, they make another discovery. An immortal blessed ship. Kai, ever the sarcastic one, internally notes that it was, quote, somehow the least surprising thing that they were involved in this plot. The ship has this distinctive copper hull and sun signs, making its origins pretty undeniable. So why is their involvement not surprising? What does it signal for the bigger picture?
That's a crucial detail. This discovery immediately connects us to a much larger political conflict. The Immortal Blessed aren't just some random faction. They're deeply tied to the Rising World Coalition Council. And specifically, it seems, to Prince Heir Bashat Barkalis of Banas Arak. So the ship's presence here, along with this character Akline's involvement, immediately hints at a broader conspiracy, likely tied to Nedark and a figure named Brahma, who apparently aims to supplant Bashat. So it stops being just a rescue operation. It's like they've stumbled right into the middle of a political coup attempt.
Wow, okay, so the stakes just got even higher. The confrontation on the Immortal Blessed ship follows pretty quickly. They find the crew ensnared mortals just locked in absolute stillness, and they swiftly defeat Akline's and his apprentice. And this is where we're introduced to Teness. She's a witch who has been captured and enslaved as a familiar. Her ability is quite striking, making flowers erupt from a bodyguard. It's beautiful, but there's a much darker side to her situation, isn't there?
Absolutely. This whole practice of memory erasure, it isn't just cruel, it's a chilling insight into the expositor's ultimate form of control. They don't just enslave bodies, they seem to want to annihilate identity itself, turning thinking beings into, well, blank slates. It speaks volumes about the nature of power in this universe, where memory and personal history are seen as threats to be neutralized. And Teness' lost past immediately becomes a significant point of concern and empathy for Kai and Zaida. They clearly understand the profound violation of identity this represents, given their own struggles.
Yeah, you can really feel that. It makes you wonder about the long-term psychological impact on anyone who survives something like that. Finally, we meet Ashem, a cohort leader, and Ramad, a vanguarder. They're Imperial officers who claim they were prisoners too. Ramad, in particular, is unusually willing to share information. He hints at being a historian by inclination. He's clearly more interested in understanding the whole situation than simply escaping it, which is, well, an interesting trait for a military guy.
It definitely sets them apart.
So with their unexpected new allies in tow, they make this pivotal decision. Head to Avagantrum. It's Kai's family city-state. This isn't just a strategic move, is it? It feels deeper. It reveals this personal motivation for the characters beyond just simple escape. It's like a quest for roots, a yearning for connection in a world that keeps trying to strip them of both.
Precisely. It grounds their struggle.
Okay. Now, with that crucial context from the present sort of established, let's shift gears, because to truly understand Kai's journey, we really need to rewind. This next section plunges us deep into his past. It reveals the origins of his unique abilities and, importantly, the profound trauma that shaped him.
Right. This segment takes us way back to Kai's first mortal body as Kaienna, a young demon prince living among the Sereti people on the grass plains in a great tent. It's such a stark contrast to his present situation, this nomadic, community-rich life, and it immediately reveals Kai's fundamental connection to the underearth. Running water specifically causes this really unsettling disruption for him. It makes him feel hollow and empty, like part of him was missing. It's a small detail, maybe seems innocuous, but it subtly foreshadows the devastating losses and disconnections that are still to come in his very long life. It's almost like a physical metaphor for his future trauma.
That deep connection makes the next event even more horrifying then. We're introduced to the ominous historical context. The voice of the Hierarchs well rose. The Hierarchs are clearly set up as the primary antagonists here. Before the Rise World Alliance, they basically controlled most of the world through some kind of oppressive magical power linked to this well.
A pervasive, dominant force.
And then comes the fall. It's the Hierarchs' devastating attack on the Sereti camp. The description is horrifically vivid. Bloodied bodies everywhere, eyes bleeding, birds just dropping dead from the sky. It's a stark, brutal contrast to the vibrant communal tent life we just glimpsed. It utterly annihilates everything Kaienna knew.
Yeah, this event marks Kai's profound trauma. The severed connection to the underearth, that's huge for him. And then the agonizing loss of his Sereti kin and losing Enna's body itself. This isn't just a plot point. It's a pivotal, formative experience. It fundamentally shapes his motivations, his perspective on power, and instills this deep, ingrained distrust that carries right into his present-day actions. It explains so much about his guarded nature, and why he fights so fiercely for the few people he lets himself care about.
Right. Amidst all this devastation, though, an unexpected ally emerges. Bashasa. He's a mortal prince heir. Their first meeting is in the grim, cageling demon court, where Kai is literally a chained prisoner. Bashasa's plan is audacious. Liberate demons. Yeah. And his choice of Kai is surprising, almost comical, simply because Kai was the right size.
Huh. Yeah, it's almost comically pragmatic. But that simple detail actually speaks volumes about Bashasa's laser focus on his mission. He's not distracted by status or appearances. He is a fascinatingly complex character, though. Initially, he seems, quote, mad enough to be telling the truth, maybe even ill in his mind.
Yeah.
But he's deadly serious about fighting the hierarchs. He even expresses a willingness to sacrifice himself just to buy a chance for the others. His statement, "We have a chance to take two hierarchs that's better than anyone else has ever managed," that really encapsulates his daring. But, given his apparent madness, was there ever a risk his daring would just get them all killed, or was there always some deeper strategy underneath it all?
That's a great question, that balance between recklessness and genius. It seems like he just had this almost suicidal conviction that somehow inspired others to follow him. We're then introduced to Taran Stargard. She's an immortal marshal and Bashas's companion, described with striking short, light golden hair that stood up in spikes. Kai, however, harbors this initial bitterness toward her. He remembers her as an immortal blessed who actually fought for the hierarchs before the fall. That bitterness feels significant, doesn't it? It suggests a really deep-seated suspicion towards anyone previously aligned with that oppressive power.
Absolutely. Past allegiances cast long shadows in this world.
Zidea also appears in this past timeline. She's revealed as a teacher from the mountain cloisters of the Kalin Islands, and her initial motivation: to hurt the hierarchs for destroying her home. So this is how this truly unexpected alliance forms. A demon prince, a witch, an immortal marshal, and a mortal prince. A real ragtag group, to say the least.
Totally. And their diverse origins and unique abilities, Kai's body taking, Ziaid's air manipulation with her wind devils, Taran's combat prowess, they're crucial. These disparate powers aren't just a list of skills. They are the very reason their seemingly impossible fight against the hierarchs has any hope at all. It's really a testament to how unlikely allies leveraging their individual strengths can actually challenge overwhelming oppression.
We then witness Kai's dramatic transformation in the temple halls. He loses Enna's body, which he later sees dead with his own mortal eyes, a devastating moment. And he takes the body of an expositor named Talamines. It's described as a painful process, but it has groundbreaking implications. He learns to use his own pain not just as raw emotion, but as a direct personal source of magical power, what they term intentions. He completely bypasses the hierarch's oppressive magical wellspring, the well. This is a huge pivot for Kai's character and his abilities.
A massive pivot. This new ability means Kai can perform expositor's gifts, but without the hierarch's control. That's profound. It liberates him magically. And it hints at his potential to learn witch work from Zide, as she explicitly suggests later on. His pain, once just a source of trauma, becomes this unique and independent power source for him. It truly changes the game.
Yeah, you can see how empowering that would be. Their little rebellion in the summer halls is actually a success. They liberate chained demons, they kill hierarchs, something previously thought impossible. But despite this victory, Kai struggles. He struggles to convince the traumatized, bewildered demons to fight for themselves. It highlights the lingering, deeper impact of their captivity. It's not just about breaking chains, it's about healing the spirit, too.
The psychological scars run deep.
Okay, so now, with that crucial context of Kai's origins and the founding of their alliance firmly in mind, let's jump back to the present timeline. With their newfound allies and that mortal blessed ship now under their control, Kai and Zadie's immediate objective crystallizes. The quest for Taran and Taheen gains some real momentum with the use of a finding stone.
Right, they have a direction now.
Their journey takes them to Orentuk first, an empty city chillingly described as a decaying monument to its murdered inhabitants. Why? Because the hierarchs didn't leave anyone alive when they were done with it. Grim.
Just awful.
Kai has this grim encounter there with a body-stealing ghoul, and his ruthless efficiency in dealing with it. It really highlights his willingness to embrace a darker, more pragmatic side of himself for survival. It shows how much he's changed, or perhaps adapted over time.
Well, you have to wonder, if we connect this to the bigger picture, Orentuk starkly exemplifies the hierarch's devastating legacy. It's not just ancient history. It shows how that past conflict has left permanent, open scars on the world. A world described as much bigger place, with so many more people in it before the hierarch's conquest. So Orentuk isn't just a ruined city, it's a haunting echo of a global trauma, a stark reminder of what they're ultimately fighting against.
A very visceral reminder. Next, they make this risky decision to use the Well of Thozurin to summon a mortal marshal, Sadrin. She's distantly related to Taran. There's immediate tension, though, distrust, especially from Zidi, who just dryly comments, "If we have to kill her, at least it'll be no loss." That tells you a lot about their current trust levels, right?
Huh. Yeah, Zaida doesn't mince words. And the irony here is pretty notable. Sajin fought for the hierarchs back in the day. Yet now, she provides the crucial clue. Taran is likely imprisoned in witch cells at the conventiculum, a place actually owned by the immortal blessed. This just peels back another layer, revealing the shifting loyalties and complex, often deceptive history within the immortal blessed hierarchy itself. They're clearly not a monolithic entity. There are layers of betrayal even within their own ranks.
Fascinating. Okay, so the perilous journey continues, this time to the now flooded summer halls. This is where Dahin is discovered, and he's deeply immersed in researching the hierarch's past. He seems almost lost in his work when they find him, doesn't he?
Consumed by it, yeah.
Dahin's behavior is initially described as evasive, but his research, it reveals the hierarch's mysterious origin. They came from the capstone of the world, a legendary desolate land of cold desert plains and rock formations. It's almost as if they descended from some forgotten, harsh realm above the known world. And his chilling realization is profound. He says, we don't know where the hierarchs came from, Kai. They could still be up there. They could come again.
Whoa. Okay, that raises an incredibly important and frankly terrifying question. The profound implication that the hierarchs might actually return. That adds a terrifying new layer of urgency and threat to everything happening in the present. It directly connects the historical fall to a very real potential future conflict. It makes their current struggles even more vital. It turns their personal quest into something with potentially world-shattering implications.
Yeah, suddenly it's not just about rescuing friends. And it certainly explains Dahin's intensity and maybe his evasiveness, too. So an intense confrontation and rescue of Dahin follows. They fight Faharan, an immortal blessed patriarch, and his expositors. Dahin's long-held anger just boils over. He casually kills an immortal blessed with blessed metal, clearly not holding back his fury.
No kidding. And the nature of these witch cells is revealed here, too. They're ancient borderlander prisons described as having no reason to be cruel. But the revelation that Sadran was lied to about their destruction, that just further underscores the deep web of deception and hidden agendas within the immortal blessed hierarchy. It shows how even supposed allies can be manipulated. It's a subtle but powerful detail exposing the corruption at the heart of what seemed like a unified force before.
It really paints a picture of deep-seated intrigue. The dramatic final confrontation and rescue is, well, it's a whirlwind. Kai improvises magic, creating shadow bands. Dahin unleashes his reckless fury, and surprisingly, Sadran appears and actually aids them, even though she herself has been captured and tied up. It's an unexpected moment of redemption, or at least clearly shifting allegiance.
Oh, that's for sure. Maybe self-preservation, maybe more.
And then finally, the ultimate reunion. Taran, Dahin, Dizay, and Kai are finally together again. A moment of just profound relief after a long, incredibly dangerous search. It feels like a reunion forged in trauma, but marked by this enduring loyalty.
It really does. And this whole journey truly reflects the incredible resilience of these characters, especially when you consider their immense personal losses and the overwhelming forces constantly arrayed against them. Their deeply scarred past continuously informs and shapes their present actions. They're not just reacting, are they? They're applying hard-won knowledge and, the emotional scars from previous battles to navigate their dangerous present. It shows how the weight of history dictates every step they take.
So what does this all mean for you listening in? This deep dive was crafted for your desire for quick, thorough, and insightful knowledge, and I really hope it delivered on that. We've journeyed from mysterious awakenings and daring rescues right through to the unraveling of ancient conspiracies, all while watching Kai's evolution. He started as this demon prince living in borrowed bodies, grappling with profound trauma and these new, sometimes unsettling, abilities. Now he's a central figure fighting not just for survival, but for justice and the truth, constantly shaped by the echoes of his past lives and losses.
And circling back to our core themes, we've really seen the lasting impact of war, haven't we? The fluidity of identity in the face of immense change, and the complex, often contradictory nature of alliances. This world powerfully illustrates that knowledge is most valuable when it's understood and applied, and these characters, they're constantly applying their hard-won knowledge from the past to navigate their dangerous present. They really embody the idea that true understanding comes from lived experience, often painful experience, and those lessons are absolutely crucial for survival.
So here's a final provocative thought for you to mull over, maybe something to explore on your own. In a world built on ancient betrayals and these really fluid identities, when does simply surviving become the ultimate act of defiance?
Yeah.
And how do you even define ally when everyone, maybe even kin, holds secrets or hidden agendas? That's certainly something to chew on.